verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
So you've just purchased the latest, greatest ship from the Zen store. You've just completed Tier 5 reputation, and you're running amazing Mark 12 consoles and Mark 12 advanced fleet weapons. And yet, you still feel as though you should be dealing more damage. Your accuracy? Ha! You can't shoot fish in a barrel to save your life. And careless forbid you try PvP. You can barely make it 5 meters before exploding. Well, have no fear, Captains. Priority 1 has put together a team of elite players that will help whip you into shape. PvP experts, ship testers, skill builders, you name it. We'll show you how to get the most from your captain, their bridge officers, your ship, and its consoles. Now, before we get started, it's important to arm yourself with the right tools. Our introduction lesson, Combat Parsers. What is a combat parser? Well, each time you engage in combat with an NPC or other player, you may have noticed a series of numbers scrolling above your target. Sometimes these numbers are really high, and generally that makes you feel really good because you think you're doing a lot of damage. But sometimes they're really low. Unfortunately, STO doesn't offer a UI that readily translates this data for you to review after an engagement. That's where a combat parser comes into play. But why are we starting with this? Why not teach you how to respect your character and just give you all the information? Oh, I assure you, we'll go into that in later episodes. We could easily point out to you the Hilbert guide and you could follow it to the letter, but what good is it if you're not verifying its output? Don't you want to see your damage when compared to other players? What are they doing that you aren't? Also, many of you have already maxed out your captains and have been rolling your tune as it is for quite some time. This combat parser will help you analyze how you're performing at this present time. Now, there are a few combat parsers floating around out there that are capable of interpreting STO's combat logs. But our parser of choice is Advanced Combat Tracker by EQ Aditu. This little piece of software will take the game's generated combat log of your encounter and translate it into graphs, charts, tables, playbacks, you name it. It's the ultimate tool to help you study your character and plan for its max potential. At first glance, this software can be very intimidating. There are a ton of tabs, options, menus, customizations, but for all intents and purposes, we'll be focusing on the fundamentals, damage output, and incoming damage. Now, before you go off installing software on your computer, we must state the following. The Priority 1 network is not responsible for any damages resulting from the installation of third-party software on your computer. Install at your own risk. Well, with that out of the way, if you've never run a combat log in STO, then the first thing we'll need to do is log into the game and create one. Once you're in game and your chat box is up, type the following: /combat log space the number 1, then hit enter. Now go find a random encounter and go fight something. Go shoot some stuff, blow it up. I'll wait. Alright, now you're done fighting, make sure you type in the following: /combat log space the number 0. Now hit enter. /combat log 1 starts recording your combat, while /combat log 0 stops it. So for instance, if you're about to run an STF and you want to review your damage output and intake, you would type /combat log space 1 at the start of the match, and then /combat log space 0 at the end. Make sure that you end the combat log, otherwise it'll just keep going. So now that you've done a combat log, you started one, you fought something, you ended it, now you'll visit advancedcombattracker.com and download the application. Next, you'll visit Hilbert Guide website for the most widely used plugin for STO combat parsing, titled V2011. This plugin contains the code that will automatically translate STO's combat log for you to read. In order to download it, right-click the hyperlink and save as. This will download the file to your default downloads location, wherever that may be, your desktop, your downloads folder, etc., etc. Now, when the application first launches, go ahead and close the wizard, because it won't allow you to manually select the custom plugin, so it really just gets in the way. It doesn't make it easier to set it up. Once you close it, select the plugin tab and browse for the file you downloaded from the Hilbert Guide website. Again, if you did it correctly, it should be in your default downloads directory. Once you've selected the file, click Add Enable Plugin, and then make sure the enabled box has been checked. Your next step is to point ACT, Advanced Combat Tracker, to your STO combat log. To do this, click on the Options tab, and under Miscellaneous, you'll see the Log File box and a button to Open Log. The location of the directory is going to be different for many people. Ultimately, you want to find the directory Star Trek Online /live/logs/game client /combatlog.log. Typically, this will be in your C drive under Program Files or Program Files x86. Once it's been located, let's take a look at that little battle we did prior to downloading ACT. Click the Import-Export tab and select the radio buttons for the beginning of file and end of file. Then click Select File. It should automatically default to the combat log directory you set earlier. Now click Open. Then select your character name as the point of view. Now click back to the main tab and you'll see Import Zone with the timestamp of your combat session. Now go ahead and expand the trees, explore through all those little tabs and titles there. And for instance, if you expand all, you'll see your name and the pet name if you fought an NPC. If I select my name, or your name for instance, a chart will appear with an overall view of my performance, including type, damage, encounter DPS, my average damage, minimum hit, maximum hit, and then hit versus swing, which the difference is going to tell you how often you missed your target, and etc., etc. As you expand the branches, you can click Outgoing Damage to view how much damage each of your weapons outputted in the same layout as your overview. Generally, one of the biggest takeaways from this, for me, was that I miss a whole lot, so I can't shoot fish in a barrel. So I'll need to find modifiers in-game to help improve my ship's accuracy, perhaps invest in a more relevant skill like starship targeting systems, or find weapons with accuracy modifiers. Captains, that concludes the first installment of Priority 1 Field Notes. A very special thanks to the newly formed Priority 1 Advanced Technology Division for all their hard work and commitment to this project.